If you are posting randomly about a restaurant in some neighborhood in Tucson, but you don't want to do business there, what are you signaling to your audience, right? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Walkthrough, the most underrated, valuable marketing podcast in real estate and podcast history. I'm your host, Eric Simon, aka The Broke Agent, aka Dr. Clickstein, and I am joined here by Jason CGO Cassidy. Jason, how you doing today?
I'm doing really good. How are you doing? Last week we talked about Arizona in the Sweet 16. Now we're talking about Arizona in the Final Four. Are you going to Indy?
Headed to Indy, Final Four, baby. So by the time
Let's
people are
go.
watching this, I will be on a flight to Indianapolis to see Arizona slaughter Michigan to retain Tommy Lloyd for life and then to win our first national championship in 25 years.
Big weekend. Let's go.
Let's go.
Games Saturday and Monday, right?
That's right. I'll be going to all four or all three, hopefully. All right. So today we have a very special episode of the walkthrough because we're going to cover something very specific. It's the two main constraints the real estate agents have when it comes to social media and exactly how to fix them. And then we're going to bring back Marker of the Week, Jason. I think people like when we show those videos.
Of course.
And we have one from an agent by the name of Miss Tucson, who posted an unbelievable video about how to reintroduce yourself as a real estate agent. No bias here, being from Tucson, of course.
Of course not. Shout out to Bridget.
No bias here. Shout out Tucson agents, Bridget Baldwin. Okay, so here are the two main constraints that real estate agents have when it comes to social media. The first one is they just don't know what to post. The second one is they don't know how to post, right? And I think that if you don't know what to post, but it's usually for this reason, Jason, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but it's mostly because agents just have no idea who their actual audience is. I know a lot of agents who just think, okay, my audience is buyers and sellers in Tucson, right? But it's not specific enough. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, on the macro for sure. I think agents, the ones who are watching this show, I think are maybe a little bit different anomaly too, because they have watched this for 2 years and I think they know what to post, right? Or they have a better idea. But I think real estate agents in general think, oh, what should I post today? I got to post about real estate. My brokerage provided me this template, so I'm going to post about the just sold that I just did because that's what you would think. But they don't stop and think, well, what do I consume? And that's, I think, how you should kind of shift it is, well, what do I consume? Who's my target avatar? Like you talked about, who am I trying to sell to? Not, I'm a real estate agent, I should post real estate. So anyways,
Yes.
I do think you're right. Most people don't know what to post, but I don't think it's that hard to figure out. I think they just got to look at it critically via the window of who their audience is.
I totally agree. Flipping that filter. I'm going to give you the exact way, not you because you already know, but the audience, the exact way of how to flip that thinking and figure out really specifically who your audience is. So first, it is for your ideal client and for the communities where you want to do business in, right? So if you are posting randomly about a restaurant in some neighborhood in Tucson, but you don't want to do business there, what are you signaling to your audience, right? If I'm posting about a new dollar store opening up down the street and I want to do luxury real estate agent or luxury real estate, that's not going to help me. So I'm going to invoke the name of someone that we have never mentioned on the show before. You ready for this, Jason? Can you guess who it is?
I mean, I know why you're setting it up this way. I can guess exactly who it is.
Say your name.
It's absolutely someone that we've mentioned before. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say you're going to show Alyssa Kernot from Spokane, Washington, and her hyper-local content.
100%, except I'm not going to show her content. I'm going to describe it because this is how she has described it to us. Alyssa Kernot, her audience, very specifically, is her clients. Her clients are women who have kids from ages 2 to 14 who live in North Spokane. Do you know how specific that is? Like, it's moms who live in kids or who have kids 2 to 14 who live in North Spokane. So all of her content is seen through that filter. So everybody here on the walkthrough, in the comments, I want you to drop in the comments a one sentence about who your clients are and who you're creating content for. I just think like that'll really help people filter everything. So if you look at all of her content, and we don't have to pull it up, but she basically has every single post is directed towards those moms. So we used to think it's just hyperlocal content for Spokane, but doing a further deep dive, I realized that it's much more than that. Like, for example, she's got wellness clinic perfect for women in Spokane. She's got great workouts for moms. She's got 3 kid-friendly activities to do this holiday season. She's got an amazing backyard for under 600K with a backyard that looks like it's perfect for kids and best newish restaurants in Spokane, all detailed for moms.
You know who did a really good job of this too? You remember
Hmm.
Mia in Salt Lake City, and we had it on the
Yeah.
show. And
Hmm.
Mama Mia, I think, was her handle because she would be like, "I'm a mom in Salt Lake City, and this house that just hit the market, 10 out of 10 mom score, 7 out of 10 mom score." And she was leaning into the
Yeah.
hyper local, but also her target avatar. So it doesn't even have to be because Alyssa does a lot more hyper local, like Spokane stuff.
Hmm.
Mama Mia, so Mia Wiley, I forgot her last name. Mia did a fantastic job showing the real estate side of who your target audience is as well. Both can be done, both hyper local and the real estate version.
Exactly. So I just think this is going to help this entire audience really understand what to post because we keep talking about hyperlocal events, restaurants, new businesses. But if you tailor that all to where you want to do business, you're not just going to do some random business review of a place in an area you don't want to do business in. If you want to sell
Who
more real estate in La Jolla, you're going to do more business spotlights, restaurants, events in La Jolla.
who would your target audience be?
Me specifically,
Hmm.
I mean, I can tell you it's real estate agents who want to grow their brand and close more deals.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to go a different way.
Bang. What did you think I was going to say?
I don't know, 35 to 45-year-old degenerates who watch too much golf and
Well, that would be what I consume for sure. But BAM's target audience is real estate agents who want to improve their business, right? So
agreed.
we filter all of our content through that. So every piece of content published by BAM, it's the daily playbook for real estate agents who want to build their brand and close more deals. So we're not going to put out a news story unless it's you joining or you becoming the CGO of Real, of course, but we're not going to put out a news story that doesn't meet the principle of why does an agent have to know this and how could it help them in their business.
Totally, I get it. Yeah,
So, but yeah, degenerates who are 35 to 45-year-old gamblers, of course, is just the content I consume. So
of course.
reverse engineer your content, figure out who your clients are and where you want to do business. And that's going to filter all of your content. I just think
Good.
like I don't think we've ever really broken it down like this. And I thought it'd be kind of useful.
For sure. Like I said, it's most people just think I'm a real estate agent. I have to post about real estate. What am I doing in real
Hmm.
estate? I'm selling houses. So let's post an I'm selling houses post. And that's the
Yeah.
polar opposite of what you should be doing. Because if you look at how you consume content, that is most often our avatar is us, right? It makes
Yeah.
the most sense. Alyssa does that
Very
because
true.
she is also a mom in North Spokane who has kids between 2 and 14, right? So like that makes the most sense. So your avatar is usually you. So if you can step like outside of yourself for a second and then analyze how you consume content and what you consume, that's also the content you should be putting out.
Hmm. Unless you're a sociopath and you're pretending to be someone else. Not that
Sure,
I would have
correct.
any experience with that at all.
Look, we are talking about real estate agents. That could be 25% of our
Exactly.
population.
Everyone's trying to be someone else. But I totally agree. Alyssa is a mom with kids age 2 to 14 who live in North Spokane.
Sometimes
All
it's
of our
that
content
simple.
speaks to that. It
Yep.
really is. So here's another filter that you could look through your content for. This will also help you figure out what to post. Is this something my ideal client would be interested in? So again, if you're posting about a golf course that is in no relation to where you actually want to sell real estate, say you want to do luxury, you should be talking about the country clubs, the nice golf courses in that area, not you teeing off on some public
Dog
dump,
track.
right? Yeah, like
Dog
all
track.
that matters. It's that
Yep.
association. Yeah, that dog track. Is this new information valuable or entertaining? Would someone DM this? I always think about that whenever I publish something is, will someone share this with a friend? If the answer is no, that doesn't mean necessarily not to publish it, but it's the new information that gets those shares. So if you're doing a local news story or it's a new business, keeping it new is what really gets those shares.
For sure.
All right. The second thing is what agents should do if they don't have a posting strategy or if they don't have any support with this. So a lot of agents will still like say you have the filter down, you don't necessarily have a strategy. So you should have some sort of posting prescription, which we've talked about before.
Hmm.
But I want to flip that also. So instead of just saying I'm going to post 3 to 5 times per week on Instagram, Facebook, one story, one email, one blog, one YouTube video, give yourself a views goal. Did we talk about this last week?
Yeah.
Damn it. All right. Well, you know what? If you missed last week's episode, I'm saying it again because we were talking about this on our webinar yesterday with Sharon and Byron, and it's these goals of conversations I have to have. What are numbers I have to meet? Instead of
Mhm.
doing a posting goal, give yourself a views goal. Say, I want
Yep.
to reach 10,000 people this week. You post as many videos as it takes to get to that number.
For sure. Yeah. So if views are down and you're only getting 1,000 per watch, you got to find a way to get 10 videos out, right? And it might be a combination of
Exactly.
stories and reels, and it might be carousels, it might be static posts. But if
Hmm.
reels are up and you hit 10,001, maybe you're done for the week, right? And so over the course of a month, it might actually average out to four a day or 4 a week or something like that. But
Once you figure out your audience, you are an agent who is already standing out from the crowd because most agents haven't figured out who they're posting for. And if you want to continue to stand out from the crowd, Reminder Media is a resource you have to check out. You get your own branded print and digital magazines, email newsletters, and social media content. Reminder delivers these resources to your contacts on autopilot, keeping you top of mind with your database. All you got to do, folks, is follow up calls and watch referrals and repeat business come in. That's all you got to focus on. So use the link below to check out Reminder Media. Exactly. So post for your ideal client, post where you want to do business, and post with the plan. And that plan is the views goal. So the second constraint, and we hear this from members in our community anytime I'm speaking at an event, you're speaking at an event, it's a lot of I don't know how to post. And now an agent's not going to say I don't know how to post, meaning I don't know how to actually like press Instagram and press publish. I'm
right.
really talking about like the packaging of the content, where if you're an agent and you're so busy and maybe you're a little older and you're not paying attention to all these social media tips, you're probably just pressing publish and not really understanding how important like the packaging is, the SEO, the captions, the hooks, the carousels. So I have a little prescription for that, Jason. You ready for this?
Let's hear it.
I hand out scripts, right? That's what I do. That's why they call me Dr. Clickston, because I get clicks
Doc,
and I hand out scripts.
Dr. Scripstein.
Yeah, doctor. I don't know if that's a good connotation necessarily. All right. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to scroll with a purpose, right? You, Jason Cassidy, when you're scrolling content, you're scrolling with a purpose because you do want to be entertained, but you're getting content ideas, but you're also seeing how packaging is working, right? You just did another green screen
Mhm.
about something that crushed. You did a green screen last week. It's because you have seen green screens,
Yeah,
right?
green screens work again. I don't know why. I think they're just
Yes.
more shareable, because you have like the verified thing behind you, so it's not just you talking. It's like the verified stats behind you. So I think they end up being a
Mhm.
little bit more shareable.
Yeah. And that's because you're scrolling with a purpose, seeing what's going on. So
Mhm.
anytime you're scrolling content, kind of like how we mentioned last week about how you should be commenting on other people's pages. If you haven't watched that episode yet, definitely watch it because we also gave you another prescription about how to grow your following without actually posting. Scrolling to see how packaging works, to see how is Gary Vee posting. Here are three accounts that you should look at right now. Look at Neil Dingra because he's always kind of a little bit forward, no pun intended, about how
Hey, I
people
see
are
what you did
posting.
there.
Follow Gary Vee, of course. Follow Alex Hermosi. I know that's kind of par for the course for a lot of our audience, but really notice how they are presenting their content
For
because
sure.
it's always, yeah,
Ryan
Sirhan.
Serhant, Cody Sanchez. There's a lot of great ones. Just
Yes.
watch it. Like if they're these people spend millions of dollars on their social strategy. So like it's almost like we used to say, if you don't want to pay to go to Tom Ferry, you just follow everybody that goes to Tom Ferry and see what they post for the
Yeah.
week after. And so like you just
Yeah.
learned what to do. Same thing. Just follow Gary Vee, Ryan Serhant, these people with social teams, and then just
Mhm.
do what they're doing because they've A/B tested everything already.
Yes. Sharon, of course, as well. Like
Yep.
those are the must follows right there to see how people are packaging content. Gary Vee, Sharon, Hermosi, Cody Sanchez, Neil Dingra, and of course, Jason, myself. Bam. Bam more than Broke Agent. Broke
Bam.
Agent still a lot of memes. So here's another thing that you should do. Read BAM. Honestly, every single Friday I write a marketing blog. That marketing blog is talking to you about how to package content. So if you're wondering what to publish, watch this show every Thursday because this is what we talk about nonstop. So if you're watching it, you're already a step ahead above most agents. Read BAM every Friday. And then we have a viral agent newsletter, which is a marketing only newsletter that we send out on Tuesdays. So those are free things that you could do right there to figure out the packaging. And then,
Yeah.
of course, yeah, go
BAMX,
ahead.
BAMX
Yes.
community, right? So like look, I've been in the industry for 13 14 years. There's all kinds of news sites to get real estate news, but this is the only one. The BAM community is the only one that's actually giving out agent tactics and like boots on the ground. Here's what's working this week on social. Everything
Hmm.
else, you may get some high level. Here's why so and so is merging with so and so. The BAM X community, these shows is where you're learning this is what's working this week. Engagement is down, so do a carousel instead of a reel. This is the only place you're getting that.
Exactly. So we do in our BAMX community now. If you join, there's multiple tiers. If you join the content tier, 7-day free trial, we'll link it down in the description. But we do content audits on a monthly basis, and those content audits are with me and head of video Bobby Kowecki. And what we do is we look at agents' Instagrams, and we don't just look at their profile. If you have a post and it flopped, we're going to look at it and say, "Hey, the reason this flopped is there wasn't a text-based hook on it, or you should have done this in carousel form, or your audio was too loud." All this little stuff matters, right? Like when you're publishing content, you almost have to be a chemist. Does the hook work? Do I retain their attention? Does the caption match this, right? Like it takes a long time to actually get a hang of, but when you do, then you start to groove a little bit.
For sure. Agreed.
Any other constraints you can think of, Jason? So those are the two main ones: what to post and how to post. But I think we
No,
knocked those out.
yeah, you got it. Some people like right now there's a big debate on Gary Vee saying 50% of your time should be spent creating content, and then Brian
Oh, I
Buffini I
saw
think
that.
came out and said if you're spending that much time, you're not a real agent or something like that. Look,
Hmm.
we all have the same 24 hours in a day. It doesn't, but we all have different time available to create content, right? If you're a top producer, you're super busy, you have 50 clients a year. Like you don't have the same amount of time because you're also just selling a lot of houses. Whereas if you're a brand new agent, you got nothing but time. So you can create more content. I think finding what works best for you, but then setting aside to batch content is probably the most important part. We talked about it, this is like
Hmm.
table stakes. So I'm not breaking news here, but setting aside once every other week or once a month to batch your 4 to 8 videos at a time, it'll alleviate a lot of the when and how do I post stuff. You just get it all out of the way in one time and then you release it when it comes out.
So is Gary Vee. So this went viral, I guess, kind of in the real estate space, right? So Gary
Hmm.
Vee said, was he saying that to real estate agents, or he was just saying
Yeah.
that in general to everybody?
No, to real estate agents. He was saying if I was a real estate agent in 2026 and you're not spending 50% of your time creating content, you're behind or losing or
You're
whatever he said.
dead,
You're dead.
right?
you're
You
you're
may
out
as
of
well be
you're out of the
dead.
job. And Brian
And
Buffini
then,
clapped back and basically
mhm.
said, "You're dumb if you're spending that much time. You're not a real estate agent. There's so many other things you should be doing." Is kind of
Yeah.
what he said.
And then Jared James did a green screen on this, and now Bam's going to cover this in an article.
I
So
didn't
this is
see
how
that.
content. Yeah. So Jared James did, I think, a green screen about Brian Buffini reacting to Gary Vee.
Got it.
So
We're getting
this is
real
how
meta here.
content. I know, but this is how content works. Everyone, if there's a viral story in your industry, this is definitely not a post for a real estate agent to do, unless it's something that you would do
Yeah.
because you're attracting other real estate agents. But if there's something in your industry that everybody's talking about, or if there's a viral story in your market, provide your commentary on it and provide your opinion on it. Don't
Yeah,
just
for sure.
share. I see a lot of agents will be like, "Hey, this is up. What do you think? This
Yeah.
is a new restaurant. What do you think of it?" Provide your opinion. It makes it so much better for the content.
You know what I hate the most is when you see they're like reaction reels now, I think, where it's somebody watching another reel and then they're like,
And pointing. Yes.
you know what I mean?
That's
I'm just like,
so
but
annoying.
they didn't add anything to it. I was like, can I just watch the original reel? Do I need to see now if it's like a funny reaction, I get it, but sometimes they're just sitting
Yes.
there pointing and I'm just like, okay, you're
Or
just
if you
jacking.
if you get to it quick, right? You could point to it for like 5 seconds and then
Yeah,
get
and
to it. But
then
I've watched a couple. There's one guy right now who is doing this to me. He is doing it to my AI take about how I'm sick of agents
oh, I
saying that
think I
AI
know who
is
you're
gonna
talking
not
about.
gonna replace agents. Every single day, I feel like there's a new video of him, and it's like my video, and he's just pointing at it for like 45 seconds, and then having people comment a word to get them in his
I
community.
I
It's
think I know
pissing
who
me
you're
off.
talking about because I think
Yeah,
he's affiliated with me.
yeah, yeah. He's your boy, exactly. Anyway, those are the two main constraints for real estate agents. Pick a filter, figure out who your clientele is, create all of your content based on that and where you want to do business. And then the way you package content, consume with the purpose, scroll with the purpose, watch the show every Thursday, read our BAM article every single Friday. We send it in our newsletter and subscribe to the Viral Agent. I'm not just saying that because it's self-serving, because it gets people in our community. I'm saying that because those are the best ways for real estate agents, because you could follow a bunch of social media gurus, but they're not going to translate it into a real estate agent's brain like the way we do it. Main thing is just watch this show, subscribe to the channel. No
So
brainer.
easy.
Every single Thursday.
That
So
was a
easy.
10 minute. That was a 10 minute walkthrough pitch.
10-minute watch. Yeah, this is exactly. I just did a pitch on why you should watch the show. That if you're watching it, you're already watching it.
Great, yeah, great targeting.
Unbelievable. So there's an agent, and because it is March Madness, because Arizona's in the Final Four, I chose her as Marketer of the Week. Her name is Miss Tucson. I don't know if that's her actual name, but that's her Instagram handle. It's a great Instagram handle. She posted this awesome video that has a bunch of like different reasons kind of why you should consider her for a real estate agent.
Born and raised.
Tucson.
Coffee order before showing.
Iced, always.
Morning person or night out.
Morning, against my will.
One word clients use to describe you.
Honest.
What's the first thing you notice when you walk into a house?
Layout.
What's the biggest first time buyer mistake?
Waiting too long.
Most overrated home feature.
Great everything.
Favorite Tucson neighborhood.
Catalina foothills.
Hardest part of your job.
Managing emotions, mine included.
Biggest myth about Tucson real estate.
That there's no luxury market.
Okay, last question. Why real estate?
Because finding people their dream home never gets old.
Okay, I said earlier, I said Bridget. I thought you were talking about Bridget Baldwin. You're talking about her name is Zarina.
Yeah, Miss Tucson.
Yeah, okay. I was completely wrong. I said so earlier in the show. I said Bridget, like shout out Bridget, because I thought you were talking about Bridget Baldwin, who's also from Tucson. You're talking about Zarina. She's great. She's fantastic. I love those videos.
Yeah. I just, and we'll have Bridget back on the show now that we did this to her, now that we subtly insulted her. But
Sorry,
Bridget Baldwin, also great content. Go follow her. But I just love the one word answers.
Me too.
And it just gave you reasons, constant reasons why you should work with her. Where are you from? Born and raised in Tucson. Okay, she's a Tucson local. I already know she knows everything about it. Favorite neighborhood? Catalina Foothills. That's where I'm from. Great neighborhood pick. And then she said, what did she say? You know, the coffee before. So it's like kind of these like fun things, coffee or tea. So you're getting a little bit personality. Mm-hmm. And then it was like one trait to describe yourself, honest, right? Like these are all just kind of like fun little building blocks of why someone should work with her in a very like minimal stressful way on her part, because all she has to do is answer questions. And that might have been even AI talking to her.
You could shoot that yourself. Just leave time in your answer to like pretend like someone's asking you the question, and then you say the answer, and then you go back and voiceover or do 11 labs to voiceover in if you want to. But that's so easy because it's like quick hitters. You know what I mean? And you're right, coffee and tea. So you can have half of them just be like open, easy ones.
Yes. So somewhere, and she talked about her favorite layout. So it's like kind of real estate education. It's education about her, and it's personality education. So great post by Miss Tucson. That is your Marketer of the Week. Jason, what are we on? Week 4 now? Week 3?
4. Yeah. This is like Thursday of week 4. Mm-hmm.
How's it going?
It's good. This has been a weirdly quiet, no travel. You know what I mean? So like I ran to Vegas once just to go meet with Neil Dingra and shoot some content. And then outside of that, I haven't traveled once. Oh, a little trip to Sacramento the very first week, same there and back, same day.
Anything from that collab with Neil, because Neil's obviously like a brilliant content creator. Anything you learned in that 20-minute session or however long you were with him?
That pod was very much his story. So like we found, because obviously he's a mortgage lender, so we talked about him coming up, being a mortgage lender, and then shifting into the content creator that we all know and love. He just launched a big event, which I'll be going to in July. Actually, I don't know if you're going again this year, but So he broke down some of the things that were working, but it's stuff that we've kind of talked about here, where you showcase the headline on the reel, and then you give your example of it. That should be coming out next week. So keep an eye out. Nothing that we haven't already talked about on walkthrough though. So again, watch the walkthrough. Exactly.
So this is an interview series that you're doing, that you're posting to your channel, or is it the Real Brokerage channel, or your channel?
Yeah. So I started a series called CGO series, where I just go out and interview our best agents, like out in the field. Now in that case, it's Neil, who's not our agent, but so it's going to be not just our agents, mostly our agents. But in that case, that was a quick little trip to Vegas. Same day, I went out there like 9 a.m., came back at 3 p.m. just so I can go to his office, which is sick. He's in like north of Vegas, just north of Henderson, I think, or something, and just has like a sick setup.
Didn't even hit the tables?
I didn't even go to a casino. Like I landed crazy. And I went straight to his office, and then I went straight back to the airport.
You got to at least toss in a bet at the airport or something, or put a future down.
Nothing.
Damn. You've changed, man. You've changed. Crazy. All right. Well, we're excited to keep hearing about that series because we're going to hear what's working content wise from Jason from a completely different agent attraction perspective, too. So, again, make sure you follow the walkthrough, subscribe now, and then let us know in the comments if we missed any other constraints. What is your biggest constraint in social media? And we'll cover it next week on the walkthrough.